When you're preparing for a divorce in Georgia, you're going to need some financial documents. You're going to need your bank statements, your retirement statements, and we're going to need your spouse's bank statements, retirement statements, all that stuff. So if you've got access to that, go ahead and gather it before you get your divorce started, because they might disappear later and it might be harder to get them later. So while things are kind of under the radar, go ahead and get all your documents together, get your passports together. For other financial documents you're going to need are going to be taxes, and we're going to put all of your financial information on a spreadsheet called a financial affidavit. And that financial affidavit is going to show income, household expenses, debts, credit card statements are going to be necessary. And we'll get all that together to get a whole financial picture so that we can take care of your divorce for you. Some other documents that you're going to need are going to be your mortgage statement, or your lease for your rent, your household bills, how much you're paying in electricity, your water, all that stuff, your household expenses. We're going to get all that down because we have to build a picture of your financial future now that you're only going to be in a single household. When it comes to divorce, you're going to have to gather some financial documents. You're going to need information about your income, about your assets, about your expenses, your monthly expenses, and about your debts. You'll need your bank statements for that, your W-2 or your pay stub. You'll need your monthly bills. A lot of times that can be on your bank statements as well. Your credit card statements, your car loan, all these financial documents, you get them together, and what we have to do in every divorce in Georgia is create a financial affidavit. With that financial affidavit, it's like a spreadsheet basically, and it breaks down, shows totals of all of your income, all your expenses, and then you can get a big picture. And really, that's a great tool when you're planning for your future, because you're going to have a picture in your mind of what the reality is in your financial situation. It's basically like a budget. So every household should have a budget. Not a lot of households do. So as part of, you know, finalizing your marriage and getting you to a future where you're single again, we're going to help you develop a clear pathway and a vision for that future. How you plan for temporary relief in a divorce really depends on your circumstances. At a temporary hearing, the judge is going to look at it and make rulings on a couple different things. So, who gets possession of the house? So, what the judge is going to do on that is going to depend. If there's family violence, obviously, we need to get some separation. And so, you need to have proof of whatever's going on, witnesses, things like that. The judge is also going to determine custody of the kids. Who's going to have the kids the majority of the time? How you're going to prepare for that really depends on your work schedule. If you have a work schedule that allows you to take care of the kids, that's more flexible, then you're going to be more likely to be able to get custody. If you get that custody, well, you're going to be spending more money on the kids than the other person, than your spouse. And you're going to need help financially with that. And so we're going to need to ask the judge for child support. And that's based on your income. So you're going to need to prepare and get documents to show what your income is, what your spouse's income is, and we'll plug everything into the website that the government gives us, the child support calculator, and it'll tell us what the child support is going to need to be. There's also support for spouses. So if you are the person who doesn't have access to the finances, who doesn't have a job, doesn't have income coming in, then there's not really any way for you to pay for things unless we get some money from your spouse to be able to contribute, just like they have been during the marriage. Because sometimes a spouse will just cut off everything once there's a divorce, thinking that they're going to get some kind of advantage. But no, a judge is not going to look favorably upon that. And so we'll need proof of all of your bills. How much are you spending? How much do we need to ask for? your vehicles. We're gonna determine who gets the vehicles. Normally, each side keeps their own vehicles. If there's two vehicles, regardless of how much one vehicle is worth or the other vehicle worth, this is just temporary. All right, this is just to put a band-aid on the situation until we can get to the final hearing. The judge is normally going to maintain the status quo, so we need evidence about what is the status quo. If you really want a good divorce attorney, don't hire a sole practitioner. Think about it. If you got an attorney who's doing everything on his own, maybe has one paralegal, but he's running the business, he's running the marketing, he's run or she, sorry, and they are doing the payroll, they're doing the ordering of the supplies, everything. Are they going to have time for your case? No, you need a team. You need a team who has some fallbacks, who has backup, who has different experiences so they can collaborate and really give you the best value and the best bank of information so you can make the right decision. You need to hire an attorney that has years of experience and has a team around them with years of experience. That wisdom really is priceless. Not only just wisdom about the law, but wisdom about the local area, who knows about the judges, who, when they walk into the courtroom, the judge says, "Hey, it's good to see you again." All right? You need a lawyer who is going to be objective, who's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Who's going to strip the emotion out of it and just be completely objective. And just like any other business, you need to find somebody who's got a good reputation. I mean, check online. There's other people who have hired the lawyer you're looking at, and they've got opinions, and they'll tell you what they think. Can't necessarily rely on what the lawyer says about themselves. Other people's words speak loudly. And lastly, you need a lawyer who's going to communicate. There is nothing worse than having a lawyer that you call and they don't return your call and you don't know what's going on in your case. You need someone who's reliable so you can stay informed at every step of your case and empowered in the decisions that will affect the rest of your life. It's very important in a divorce that you set realistic goals. You don't want to set expectations really high and then get disappointed. You don't want to set expectations really low and have high anxiety through the whole process. So there's a level of realism you gotta look at. So let's talk about some of the key issues. Money. Everybody worries about the money. So how's the money going to be divided? Well, depends on where the money come from. So if the money that you really got to focus on in the divorce is the money that was made by either party during the marriage, that marital money under the law has to be split equitably. But what is equitably? It's not necessarily equal, it's just fair. Who determines what's fair? The judge determines what's fair. All right? Or you determine what's fair if you and your spouse can come to an agreement. And so, let's just talk about trial. If it goes to trial, a judge is normally going to be somewhere around 50-50, but if there's some other circumstances that the judge thinks that it would be fair for one side to get more, it might deviate from that a little bit. But you're not going to lose everything. You're not going to get everything. So go ahead and get those ideas out of your head. For custody, what to expect, really, it kind of depends on your jurisdiction. It depends on your judge. Because some judges, they like 50-50 custody, week on, week off. Some judges, like in Gwinnett County, it's the weekend and alternating holidays is much more common, where maybe in Atlanta that 50-50 might be more common. And so you really need to know your judge so that you can prepare and have realistic expectations of what's going to happen. If one party works while there needs to be childcare, then and the other party is not working when the kids are out of school. Well, it's likely that the person who's got the availability in their schedule is going to get primary custody. If you got a lot of flexibility in your schedule, if you're the boss and you can make things where you're available for those doctor's appointments, for those school appointments, to go to the games and participate in everything, then you're going to be more likely to get custody. In the end, what you have to look at in the law is what's called the best interest of the child standards, and it's a list A through Q. Like, there's a lot of things in there that you really need to be familiar with to get an idea based on the facts in your case of what's going to happen. With child support, it's not a complicated thing. It's just a mathematical calculation on a government website where you put in incomes, put in health insurance, and put in the child care, and it spits out a number. And then we do an adjustment based on the amount of parenting time. All right, that's a new thing in the law. We're on the cutting edge of that. And I've developed another website, parentingtimecalendartool.com, where you can put in your schedule and it'll tell you how much of a discount you might get on your child support. Now, right now, that's kind of up to the judge, but in January 2026, it's going to be mandatory. It's going to be built into the government calculator. What to expect when it comes to alimony has a lot of variables. It depends. All right, so it depends on the duration of the marriage. The longer the marriage has been going on, the more likely that there's going to be alimony if one party hasn't been working during the marriage to, let's say, take care of the kids or whatever. Or if y'all just came to an agreement that one of you isn't going to be working, then you've got years that you've missed out on in building a career, building a resume, and you did that on reliance of the idea that you were going to be married, that you could trust your spouse. They said they were going to take care of things and you could stay at home. Well, everything's all changed now. And so we've got to figure out a way to get you to a point where you can work. And sometimes that takes time. Sometimes it takes education. And so alimony is also based on the needs and the ability to pay of each of the parties. So um, we're going to balance all that, and really, it's hard to know what to expect on alimony without talking to somebody who knows all of these nuances. So if you're going to go through a divorce, then you've got to be realistic. That's the only way that you're going to stay sane and have mental health, is to be able to look at reality as it is, not as you see it to be.